Propaganda is at its most effective when delivered to people eager to believe its premises. No matter how well crafted, a propaganda message will fail if it opposes the audience's values. Since turning pro in late 2013, Vasyl Lomachenko, a two-time gold medalist, had positioned himself as one of the most dominant boxers in the world.
He's a combination throwing pressure fighter, he's a power punching pot shotter, and then all of a sudden he's a fleet-footed escape artist.
He gets inside, he steps around, he gets underneath the arms. He's never standing still, even if he's working in the pocket.
When campaigning at 130 pounds, the man had forced 4 quality fighters, including fellow two-time gold medalist Guillermo Rigondeaux, to quit.
That's it. He is saying, I don't want any more. God. Are you kidding me?
But some people refused to credit him, citing that he was being overhyped. In 2019, barely 21 years old, an undefeated Devin Haney's future seemed bright. He'd become the #1 rated fighter by the WBC organization and a potential challenger for their champion, Vasyl Lomachenko. Ultimately, Lomachenko had his eyes set on another and more accomplished young fighter in Teofimo Lopez. And so, seeking a unification of titles, Lomachenko's handlers requested the novel status of franchise champion, which would allow Lomachenko to fight Lopez. This was all that Haney and his manager and trainer, Bill Haney, needed to cry duck. They accused Lomachenko of being afraid to fight him, and the Lomachenko detractors were all too willing to swallow the narrative. Upon closer inspection, the claim was nonsensical. First, Lomachenko's promoters had already set their sights on fighting Teofimo Lopez, who, by early 2020, was a more accomplished fighter than Haney. For his part, Haney, barely 21 years of age, had failed to beat anyone of significance. Was fighting a more worthy challenger truly a duck? On top of that, despite Lomachenko's franchise status, the Haneys could still send him an offer to fight.
So what I'm asking is, how can a champion that represent you guys, right, where he's only fought one time for the vacant belt, not be considered a supreme champion that no one in the WBC can challenge?
Anyone can challenge.
How?
They can fight.
They never did. And finally, Lomachenko could never realistically duck Haney because the American had injured himself during a bout in late 2019, leaving him stranded for 6 months. And Lomachenko's promoter, Top Rank, had already arranged a fight against the winner of the Lopez vs. Richard Commey bout that took place in late 2019. Then, the pandemic occurred, thus pushing the Lomachenko-Lopez bout, which was originally set for May 2020, all the way to October, while Haney recuperated. So in the end, not only was a Lomachenko-Haney bout unnecessary, but also a physical impossibility. But these facts failed to prevent Bill Haney from spreading the narrative that Lomachenko had avoided his 21-year-old prospect of a son because he was too dangerous. And so, the boxing world was shocked that a convicted drug dealer could spew lies with such ease. Lomachenko went on to lose a decision to Lopez in late 2020, after having fought with an injured shoulder. But after surgery, Lomachenko returned on a mission to rematch Lopez, scoring 2 dominant wins. Lopez, for his part, consistently flip-flopped regarding a potential rematch. Ultimately, Lopez lost his titles to the undefeated George Kambosos and fled the division. In early 2022, Haney initiated negotiations with Kambosos, but he soon began stalling. Lomachenko stepped in and accepted all of Kambosos' terms. Haney tried to save face by saying he'd take the same deal, but it proved too late. Or did it? In early 2022, war broke out between Russia and the Ukraine. Feeling patriotic, Lomachenko volunteered for military service. And so, Haney entered the fray. He traveled to Australia and twice defeated Kambosos. And he made it look easy. Then, in late 2022, Lomachenko returned against the undefeated Jermaine Ortiz. Lomachenko needed rounds to shake off the rust, but ultimately prevailed. Haney entered the ring, and immediately, the size difference between Lomachenko and Haney became apparent.
Is this lightweight? Is this lightweight?
He's a big lightweight, huh?
No, it's heavyweight.
This was something that the WBC president, Mauricio Suleiman, had mentioned to Bill Haney.
And your son, after the fight, after the weigh-in, the next day he was 24 pounds over the weight division.
He was hydrated. You said he hydrated up 20 to 24
Absolutely.
pounds.
But the Haneys were just getting started. Devin Haney began complaining that Top Rank wanted to stage the fight in May, which meant that Haney, an alleged Muslim, would have to train during Ramadan and adhere to its strict eating schedule. Haney even dared to suggest that his own promoter wanted him to lose. Then, as 2023 continued, it was revealed that Lomachenko had signed his contract, but Haney's side remained stalling.
Mike, it seems as though they're going to fight each other, so why hasn't that deal been closed yet?
Lomachenko did close his side of the deal, and Haney wasn't able to close his side, but I do think this one's actually going to be resolved in the coming days, if not next week.
Finally, the bout was official. And now, Bill Haney made it racial.
And we gonna put hands and feet on white Jesus whenever the time come, Black.
But years earlier, his son had gone even farther.
Yes,
I'll tell you this, I will never lose to a white boy in my life. I don't care what nobody got to say. Listen, can't no white boy beat me out on any day of the week.
As usual, Lomachenko refused to lose his cool, which appeared to further incense Haney.
I like the young fella. He's feeling himself. Whoa!
Suddenly, the fight was personal.
Team Lomachenko and Vasyl have run out of time.
The bigger Haney started off aggressively, launching body blows.
There's been a lot of talk about the size difference between the two, and that's very apparent right away.
But soon, Lomachenko settled down and scored upstairs.
Straight right hand scores for Vasily Lomachenko.
You know, and it's those eye-catching shots from Lomachenko.
And Haney pulled out his old weapon, the clinch. Haney fired body shots in an attempt to repel Lomachenko, but the Ukrainian was relentless. Haney did well in the fifth, but Lomachenko continued being the aggressor. As the bout progressed, Lomachenko landed the cleaner shots and had the bigger, younger man clinching. Lomachenko was consistently setting Haney up, something the American admitted to his father.
Josh, he knows I'm going to the left. Why are you going straight left now? Yeah, but listen, but that's why I said he's one and done. We already planned for that. We already planned more than one time. Listen, huh? He's doing it more than once.
In the 10th, the Ukrainian shook Haney.
Straight left hand. And now a combination and a flurry from Lomachenko.
And the two men engaged. In the 11th, Lomachenko went for the kill.
Loma showing you age is just a number. 11 years older than Haney. And the willpower here in the 11th.
Haney fought hard in the 12th, while Lomachenko barged forward. In the end, most expected the crown to change hands, but the judges had a surprise in mind.
And still undisputed lightweight champion.
After the bout, the mental gymnastics from one side emerged. Haney, they claimed, had won the fight off of body shots. But the rules state that clean, effective punching is key, and Lomachenko had walked through the body shots as it continued pressuring and landing cleanly upstairs, backing the bigger man up. The second argument was that Lomachenko had surrendered the 12th round. This argument implied that winning the final round negated Lomachenko's superior work throughout the fight. Lost amid the drama was the fact that one judge only gave Lomachenko 4 rounds, while another scored most of the early rounds for Haney, despite the fact that Lomachenko was constantly rattling the American's head. More ridiculously still, some asserted that the judges were perfect, infallible beings who could not be questioned. And this was understandable, since, as we saw with one of the judges from the Usyk-Joshua rematch, most judges failed to explain their scorecards when confronted.
How did you score that fight for Anthony Joshua then?
Just the way I did.
How did you score? How do you find 7 rounds in fight? Just wondering if you could explain how you score 7 rounds in fight.
I can't. You'd have to talk to my supervisor.
What did you like about Anthony Joshua's work in the fight that made you score the round 7-5?
I want to just...
In the end, Haney scurried away with a gift decision. The Haneys refused any notion of a rematch and moved up to fight 140-pound contender Regis Prograis. Haney easily outboxed his foe, but reports later emerged that he rehydrated up to 25 pounds on fight night. This was significant since the official weigh-ins used to occur 24 hours prior to the bout. But in this instance, Haney had stepped on the scales 36 hours before, thus gaining more time to rehydrate. Fans were intrigued by a potential Devin Haney vs Gervonta Davis fight, but Haney preemptively asserted his refusal for both a catchweight and a rehydration clause, thus sparking a battle of weight bullying versus special weight clauses. Despite the drama, Haney attempted to spark mainstream fame, with limited results.
Stay away from the car, please. What's up, champ? Got some fans out here for you, champ. What's happening with you? Got some fans out here for you, champ. Got some fans out here for you, champ.
Can I ask you about the pay-per-view? Could you tell us how it did?
Honestly, I haven't even got the pay-per-view numbers yet, and I'm still waiting on pay-per-view numbers because that's I get paid on pay-per-view. So
sure. But you have any kind of sense or not yet?
Not yet. No, I don't have it. I don't have the numbers yet.
Meanwhile, despite being robbed, Lomachenko had managed to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Number 1, he debunked the narrative that he'd been scared of Haney in 2019. For if an older version of Lomachenko could beat an improved Haney, then one can only imagine what a prime version would have done to an inexperienced Haney. And he'd proven that, despite being the smaller, older, and perhaps slower man, oftentimes skills can pay the bills.